Hi everyone, it's Lisa Mears here, and today I'm working with some more new products from Pretty Pink Posh's 9th birthday release. If you missed my unboxing of all of the new birthday themed products, I'll link it at the top right corner of this video. So for today's card, I'm making a fun birthday shaker card using the mug die that was previously released and adding some of the new birthday add-on dies. And as always, I will have links to all products used in this video in the description box below and on my blog at Lisa Mears Designs. So the dies that you see here are called birthday mug editions, and they go with the winter mug that was released back in October. So let's go ahead and take a closer look at these two sets. So the set on the left, I separated both sets by this green piece of cardstock. The set on the left are the winter mug dies. These are the original dies that were released. They come with the actual mug, and there are also some other pieces, candy canes, there's snowflakes, there's a fall leaf, there's a ghost, there's also the coffee to put in the mug, and then there is the marshmallow. The dies on the right are the birthday mug editions. These are brand new. They're part of the Pretty Pink Posh 9th birthday release. They come with candles. There's also party hats. There is a birthday wand with a star at the top. There's also some balloons. There's a piece of cake. There's a word die that says it's your day. And then there's also a die that you can use to turn the mug into a shaker. So I'll be using the mug die as well as this piece for the liquid, and I'll be using this in conjunction with the birthday mug editions. There's also a Valentine mug editions set that came out in January, and I'm not showing it here, but I'll be using the whipped cream from that die set. So I die cut the mug out of some pink cardstock, and I also die cut the liquid out of some dark brown cardstock. You can see that that liquid piece goes right on top of the mug, just like that. I'm going to use this die, and I'm going to line it up on the pink mug die cut piece, and I'm going to add some mint tape just to hold it in place and die cut that, and it cuts a hole out of the top of the mug. This is so that you can turn the mug into a shaker. And notice it also adds that stitching all along the edge. Using the mug die a second time, I die cut a piece of the dark brown cardstock so that I can layer up my pink mug on top of that so it looks like there is liquid all through the mug. But I'll do that in just a moment. In the meantime, I'm going to use some ink that matches my cardstock, and I'm just going to add some ink to the edges of the pink mug just to add some depth to this mug. I cut down a piece of acetate that is about the size, a little bit larger than the opening of that mug, and I'm going to put glue on the back of the mug, and then I'll add the acetate. So now that entire window on the mug is covered in acetate. Next, I'm going to take a thin foam strip, and I'm going to add it to the back of the mug just around the mug border. I'm not putting any in front of that acetate window, just all around that acetate window. I'm also going to add some foam to the top part of the mug and around the handle, just so that when I add it to my card, it lays flat. I don't want to have any pieces that aren't touching the cardstock. I want everything to lay flat, so that's why I'm adding that foam all the way up at the top as well. Next, I'm going to add some of the Pretty Pink Posh Birthday Cake Clay Confetti Mix on top of the brown piece of cardstock. I put a little too much in there, so I am putting some back in the bag. I don't want to put too much clay confetti in there. And then once I have the clay confetti in place, I'm going to go ahead and remove the backing off of the foam adhesive from the pink mug, and then I'll place that pink mug right on top of the brown mug. And that's how you make the mug shaker. But now I'm going to finish this up by adding this liquid piece right on top. This could either be hot chocolate or it could be coffee, whatever you wish. Mine is going to be hot chocolate. So I die cut the whipped cream. out of the die from the Valentine mug editions, and I'm just inking it up to add some depth to the edges using some brown ink, and I'm going to add the whipped cream right to the top of that die. Now to work on the other die cut pieces that are going to go along with this birthday mug. I die cut the wand and I'm just inking up the die cuts with ink. I die cut them out of white cardstock and I'm just adding ink to them. If you wanted to die cut them out of colored cardstock so that you don't have to ink them up, you can do that as well. You can also die cut them out of white cardstock and color them up with your markers or pencils. It's up to you how you want to do this. So this is the wand. I'm using some squeezed lemonade ink for the star, and then for the other pieces I'm using the cracked pistachio, and these are my Distress Oxide inks. So you see me here just putting all of these pieces of the wand together. I will use a white gel pen just to add some accent marks to the wand. Next, I die cut the party hat out of white cardstock, and I'm going to use the worn lipstick ink as well as the squeezed lemonade and the cracked pistachio. So I'm going to use all three colors on the party hats. You can see you have your base layer, which is shown there on the left, and then you have all of the little pieces that cut out that you can make them different colors, and that's what I'm doing here. You can see that I inked up the pom-pom out of that worn lipstick ink. I didn't initially see that there were some layering pieces to that, and I'll come back in the end and add those layering pieces. But in reality, you can just leave that pom-pom as an inked color, just as I did, without adding the layering pieces. The layering pieces are so tiny. If you want to add them there, you can. They do have some detail to them. There's some little dotted lines on those layering pieces that will make it stand out from just the flat die cut piece that you see there now. I am adding some white gel pen accents, and here's where I come in with those little tiny pieces for that little pom-pom, adding some ink, and then I'll go ahead and add those to the party hat. I actually was going to just leave those off because I thought that the party hat looked fine without them, but when you bring this close up, you can see that it does have some detail to those little pieces. I did make two of those party hats, and now I'm moving on to the candle. I'm coloring up the flame with some yellow Copics and adding a little line of an orange Copic and then just blending that together with the yellow just to create the flame, and then I'm just going to add some ink to the actual candle itself with some of the worn lipstick ink. After I ink up the candle, I actually die cut the cake out of white cardstock, and I'm just going to glue the candle onto the candle portion of that cake. This way I can now take my scissors and trim it out, and that candle will be all one piece. And now I can add glue to the back of that candle and add it to the mug. Now if you wanted to use the cake in addition to the candle, you can use the cake on top of that mug instead of the whipped cream like I have here. I'm also going to have some balloons, so I took the balloon die cut it twice, and I'm going to color up the balloons with the squeezed lemonade ink. I'm also going to ink one of the balloons with the cracked pistachio. So all of the inks I'm using are all the same for all of my die cuts, using the worn lipstick, the cracked pistachio, and the squeezed lemonade. I will add some accents using a white gel pen to my balloons. And for the sentiment of my card, I'm using the sentiment from the Wish stamp set, which says, "Celebrating you on your special day." So I'm going to set all of those pieces aside, and now I'm going to work on my background. So I have a piece of cardstock that I cut to 5.5 by 5.5 inches, and I'm using the Layered Party Hats stencil. I did use this stencil in a previous card where I made a card with a party hat background in all different colors. This time I'm using just one color for my party hats, which is pink, but I will be changing the color up for the pom-pom and adding a green pom-pom. So the color I'm using for the ink is the Worn Lipstick Distress Oxide ink. Just going over that entire stencil. This is the stencil layer A with the Worn Lipstick Distress Oxide ink. I'll remove that stencil and I will add the stencil layer B, making sure I line it up on the same grid line where I had the first one lined up so that everything lines up correctly on the cardstock. And then I'm just using the same color ink that I used for the first layered stencil, and I'm just going over it a little bit with a heavier hand than the first time. And I'm adding a little bit more ink as well, just so that I have a two-tone effect. If you wanted to use another color ink that's in the same color family but a bit darker, you can do that as well. Next, I'll add the third stencil. This is the pom-pom on the top of the party hat, and I'm going to ink this layer up with the cracked pistachio ink. The last layer of this stencil is the stars layer. I'll line that up and I will add the squeezed lemonade ink to have yellow stars. I love using these layered stencils from Pretty Pink Posh because you can really get a beautiful, colorful backgrounds for your cards using different ink colors. So now I finished inking up the stencils and you can see that beautiful background. I cut down that stenciled layer to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches, and now I'm ready to put all of these pieces onto this card. So I'm going to lay everything out where I want it. I'll go ahead and start by gluing the sentiment at the bottom of that card panel. And then I'll start gluing down the die cut pieces that are behind the mug, starting with the balloons, the green one and then the yellow one. I'll go ahead and add the party hats to the top of the mug. I will then add the wand behind the mug. And then I'll lastly add the mug to the top of the card. I am putting some foam on the back of the whipped cream just so that it all lays flat on the card. And then I'm going to add this entire layer to an A2 size white card base. So my card base measures 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches. So I hope you liked my card today. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And don't forget, all supplies that I use for this card will be linked in the description box of this video and on my blog at lisamearsdesigns.com. If you want to see more card making tutorials from me, be sure to click that subscribe button. Thanks so much for watching and have a great day. Bye-bye.